Welcome, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. Very excited to have on today the CEO of Binance US, Coley. Catherine, how's it going?
It's going great today. How are you?
Very, very good. Now, Catherine has got an amazing bit of experience, formerly having spent a couple years at Ripple and before that at Morgan Stanley. So, some very interesting experience. And now she's bringing all that experience over to Binance to help with their US launch. So, we're going to be going through a lot of some of the common questions I've been seeing around Binance US. So, hopefully, we can answer a lot of those questions for everyone out in the audience today. And just before we jump into the first question, just a reminder to everyone out there that there are no fees on Binance US until the 1st of November, and you also get $15 as a sign up bonus. Now, there's going to be a link down below. It's not a referral link because I'm not in the US, I'm in New Zealand. But for everyone in the US, you guys can get that sweet $15 sign up bonus. So, Catherine, let's just jump into the first question here is how has the launch gone so far versus your expectations of how you wanted the launch to go?
I think it has gone swimmingly well for the expectations that I had. I am extremely excited by the adoption by the communities that have really been excited by not only our platform, but also just kind of the mantras that we're coming into the US with, really being able to bring kind of an educate, don't intimidate motto to the way that we're addressing the US.
It's a tough market to get into because we have so many different states and there's so many different variations of what's possible and what's easy and what's easily accessible between states. And I know that when Binance US launched, there are people running around dunking like, aha, it's not Binance US, it's Binance most states. Not and so I want to ask you the question to kind of clarify for people out there who might feel a bit salty about whatever they need to feel salty about. But what is the challenge in making a cryptocurrency exchange like Binance US available in every single state in the United States?
There's several steps that are something that it's quite difficult to go through in order to kind of produce a refined and professional product. And we intend to be here for the long haul. We have to go through a state by state regulation to get approved licenses. So we fully plan on rolling out across the rest of the US. This does take time. But what we are most excited about is bringing a globally recognized trading technology into the homes of those in the U.S. So we've got the work cut out for us. It's just time.
So basically, what you have to do is you have to go and get 50 separate states plus, Puerto Rico and other territories and stuff to all sign. You have to go
We
through an
got Puerto
application
Rico
process.
for you there.
You got Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, so congratulations everyone in Puerto Rico. But so that's a big process. That's a big process. I know, of course, you got a big team and stuff, but still, that takes time to work through. And there's definitely timelines and hurdles and difficulties with different regulators. Like New York, for example, is infamous for being just a total pain in the butt to get into.
I can't call it. They're doing their jobs the way they should. There's a reason why we have regulators, and we'll take guidance by those that write it. So
There you go. Now, so the initial fee period is free until the 1st of November. So after that, what will the fees on Binance US be, and will you be able to use the Binance token for fee reduction on the platform like the international version?
yeah, so one of the mindsets that I had coming into launching in the US was really how can we include everybody? How can we make it much more straightforward in a trading platform for people to understand what I think the future of the way we're going to be conducting commerce is going to be going. So we wanted to make it as straightforward as possible, starting out with free fees. So you didn't even have to figure out how fee structures would work. In order to try it out, you get $15. You can test it, kind of learn how trading works in crypto. And then come November 1st, we'll have 10 basis points for kind of just base retail. For our corporate clients, we have a little bit of a different model there. It's about 0 and 3 bips. And so that's just given their flow and their tendencies is a little different. And then the graduation from that, we can adjust and cater to the tiering model that we've seen successful at Binance.com. We've also seen successful is the BNB being used for reduction of trading fees. And those are all exciting aspects that the community really enjoys. and we want to be able to deliver.
Nice. I think having good low fees is important, especially considering some US based competitors having recently spiked their fees by more than a couple 100%. So, having low fees to buy your Bitcoin, that really adds up over time. It really, really does. There's a big difference between paying 0.1 or 0.5%, especially if you're doing like weekly or monthly purchases over like a 5-year period or something like that. That adds up.
Yeah, and you think about the hurdle to entry. If your first step into digital assets is one met by a large fee, that's going to make you rethink a great technology that you could be a part of. So we really want to lower those hurdles to entry, allow people to get a sense of what it's like to be trading on an intuitive platform, and then provide that feedback to us so that we can provide a truly platform that people want to use.
Now, the international branch obviously has seen some very exciting things going on this year. We now have a futures market, we have margin trading, we have earning, we have staking, we have initial exchange offerings. Can we expect any of that stuff to come to the US branch, or is that all too difficult with regulations?
They're on a roll. I'll give them hats off to the team CZ and the .com team for really rolling out so many amazing features. We have considering all aspects of features from Binance.com, as well as all the other global aspects that we see are important for a trading platform. So I think we'll take best practices of what we can and apply it so that our users are able to access what they really want.
So any sort of timeline for any of those things if they are going to come? Or is it any of that in the plans or in conversations now? If you can tell us any of that.
I wish. I'm still trying to get you guys timelines on when we can get a couple more states and an app built. So we'll work day by day on what we can provide. But it's going to be an exciting journey. This is just the beginning.
Nice. Now, recently we did see some new listings. In fact, we've seen a few new listings for different coins. So, what's the big challenge to listing new coins on Binance US? Is it a US specific thing where you have to go through this process with every single coin, or so? Well, when were we going to see some new listings coming? More, of course. And what's the big challenge in getting coins listed on Binance US?
Yeah, so we've just had a couple new ones. Link and Ravencoin were listed, and we'll continue to kind of go through the process with our digital asset risk assessment framework, which just lets us get a good handle on not only the token itself, but the community aspect, the market demand, and then the regulations required per token per project, which really just take thorough documentation on our side and appetite to provide a kind of a diverse selection for our users. Again, that's something that I stand behind in terms of educating, not intimidating people. We want to be offering a wide selection for people to enter this market, whether it is one token that catches your fancy or another. We want to make sure that your hurdle to entry and come into this market is one that you get to decide.
Do you have any concerns that Binance US might not be able to list privacy coins like Monero, for example? We have seen the FATF and their new idea around the travel rule, and I guess coins like Monero and specifically be quite hard to comply with potentially. So is there any conversations around the future of privacy coins on Binance US going on right now?
We'll be listening to the guidance provided by our regulators going forward.
Is there so currently there's no privacy coins listed on Binance US, like no Zcash or anything quite yet, right?
Nope.
Do we have any of those coming in the near term future?
I wish I could tell you.
It's certainly been an interesting conversation around what's going on with privacy coins. Obviously, we've seen South Korea, quite a few exchanges over there delisting privacy coins. I hope that Binance US will be able to list some of those more exciting privacy coins going into the future anyway. So the other big thing outside of privacy coins and the concerns around potentially listing those is the question around securities. So what is the process for deciding at Binance US if a coin is going to be a security or not?
Yeah, that's really not for us to decide. Most of the guidance that we've received kind of helps us realize what we need to comply to for the listing process. So, following the guidance that we have received and being updated with the new and incoming guidance is really how we go through that process of measuring. But really, it's up to the regulators to start and continue deciding what is and what isn't a security.
Is there any plans to start offering securities at some point in the future with Binance US?
It's interesting. I get this question quite a lot, and I come from maybe an unusual school of thought in thinking that the journey that we have in the U.S. specifically is one where we need to zoom out and really focus on getting the ground floor of adoption ready. Modulating the products that we have already for a derivatives or next layer component, I think are definitely in the cards, but I care a lot more about including everybody in this journey ahead. And I think we can kind of start back down at base zero for us to kind of begin.
Getting Bitcoin in the hands of people and deal with the exotic stuff later on.
It's not an everyday conversation yet, so I've still got my work cut out for me. There are people that don't know about it. There are people that are still scared about it. We still have the fears that it's not physical. How do we deal with something
Mm-hmm.
that's digital? Those I really want to be able to teach and kind of shepherd folks into understanding how something works with a really intuitive uh, offering for them. So that's where we really hope Binance US can lower that intimidation, lower the fees, lower the ego, and really just bring to the US market something that they can really enjoy beginning to use.
Now, I want to move on to talking about the let's call it the Coinbase in the room. So, how do you take on Coinbase? Coinbase already has 25 to 30 million customers. I mean, a large majority of those would be U.S. based. So, what is the incentive for someone to switch over from Coinbase, if they're an existing Coinbase user, to use Binance US, or if someone's a new user and looking between Binance US and Coinbase, what is the incentive for them to choose Binance US over Coinbase?
They've done a phenomenal job of getting crypto into the mainstream. I can't thank them more for the last 7, 8 years of bringing crypto into the mainstream conversation. They've done a wonderful job of teaching people how trading can work, and we want to be able to provide kind of our global input on how the rest of the world sees trading moving forward. So I spent most of my professional career outside of the US, which gave me a different perspective. And I think having the technology that I can license that is being used from users all over the world can make a better product in the US, and one that brings a global mindset into the US user that can accelerate trading and adoption going forward.
Nice. And of course, the fees probably don't hurt either for the long term fee savvy person. Now, the international branch of Binance has crazy liquidity, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a day in volume. So, how do you build that kind of liquidity for Binance US? I mean, the US market I mean, look, I know crypto, it's not super saturated yet as a market overall, but there's a heck of a lot of competition in the US market, whether it be from Coinbase or Kraken or any of the other dozens of competitors. So, how do you get that kind of liquidity to actually build up to kind of match or at least, be percentage wise representative of what the international branch is doing?
Yeah, it comes down to something pretty simple. One, takes a lot of hard work. Two, you've got to provide something that the market hasn't seen yet. And so we want to be diverse selection is something that's hugely important to the U.S. users. We see as important to the international users. That is an aspect where we think we can accelerate and bring kind of new offerings for U.S. users that would bring their appetite, but also making sure that the platform is intuitive, the conversation is beginning between them and our product, and we can build something that's more nimble, that caters to kind of that evolving trader. We think this maturity in the market is something that we can help shepherd, And it's one that I think will take time, but we're going to be here for a while fighting. So get ready.
Is is Binance US also going to have the advantage of the SAFU fund or the SAFU fund from the head branch? Is it going to be the same sort of Binance insurance fund, or are you guys building your own Binance insurance fund, or are you looking to get insurance from a third party like Lloyd's Bank or something like that?
I think those are all in the cards. We can take what we've seen work well at places and adopt and apply for users in the U.S.
Nice, nice. So there potentially is going to be a SAFU fund for Binance US, but let's just assume that the worst of the worst was going to happen. And is the Binance International SAFU fund also available to the US branch in the event of emergency?
No, but we have kind of separate liquidity and separate entity. Binance US operates quite differently than Binance.com, but we take customer protection extremely seriously. So you can kind of consider we've already put this in the cards as something that we've considered.
Mm-hmm. And what are the steps that are being taken to ensure the safety of users' KYC data? I mean, look, it seems that we don't go a week without some giant KYC data breach somewhere, and there has been, of course, the Binance International team. There was also some concerns around that. So, what's being done to protect users' KYC data on Binance US, as well as what are the exact steps that are being taken to really protect users' funds?
Yeah, I think there's one thing that people oftentimes only hear the bad news and forget that with every failure or mistake that occurs, we're able to take that and improve upon it. So with every single, I mean, you see this in financial traditional markets aspects of hacks, things that are happening. We're able to take what the best practices are learned after that and apply them going forward. As well, we've cutting edge security that we're focused on initially to bring to users. So it's already been built and continuing to be in real time updated so that we bring safety and security to all of our users' data and also their trading assets.
It's a constant battle. The
But it's a wonderful. I kind of think of it as like the growing up part of being able to handle crypto. You've got to take new measures. So whether it's 2FA, whether it is improved OPSEC or ways that you manage your own keys or your own personal security, those are all steps of us learning how to handle this wonderful technology. We've just got to grow up and handle it in a different way. You no longer can put $5 in your back pocket, you know?
That's right. That's right. And yeah, it also comes down, I guess, to an extent to the individual user themselves. I mean, look, you guys as an exchange, you're a big honeypot, right? And there'll be a lot of targeting towards the exchange itself, but things like SIM swap attacks and stuff like that happens in the U.S. Like you got to really, as a user independently as well, just understand your own security procedures and what you need to do to keep yourself safe online in general and in crypto.
Yeah, and again, that's part of our ideals of educate, don't intimidate. People will think that, oh, if I jump into digital assets, I'm immediately going to become a victim of something in the news, and you have to be aware of that. But how can we help you get there? How can we help you with the best practices? So we require 2FA which is two-factor authentication on our platform to already protect you to some degree. And just continuing to educate folks on what they need to be doing in order to handle stepping into this arena is something that I think is just we shouldn't be confusing people with. We should be guiding them towards it.
Now, the last question here for you today is kind of, I guess, more of a broader question, so feel free to expand on it as you like. What are U.S. regulators getting right and getting wrong about the crypto industry?
That's an interesting question. I think there's so many ways that we could grossly simplify and complicate the crypto industry. And they are doing their best efforts to compile, call it decades, almost centuries, well, of markets regulation into something they have yet to see play out. and navigating the unknown is extremely tricky. You can only rely on what's worked best and how you can kind of, when in doubt, paddle it out. And I think that regulators are doing a wonderful job at getting the mechanisms working so that they can make sure that they're not impeding innovation. And that's something that's so tough. We have no idea of where this is headed in the future. We certainly have, some oracles thinking it's going one way, and we have, some with tinfoil hats thinking it's going another way. And we just have to really recognize that there is a lot that they have to consider.
Very interesting. I can only imagine being a regulator trying to go through all this stuff, and you realize a lot of the regulatory bodies are usually underfunded and understaffed, and so they've got to do this whole new thing, and it can be tough trying to find that right balance.
Yeah, and how long did it take you to teach yourself, what you know in crypto, and are they playing catch up at the same time things are, growing
I'm still
and
learning every day, and
changing?
I've been doing it for years, nonstop.
It's always be learning. It's my motto, right?
That's right. That's right. I think that's the right attitude. I think for regulators' take is one that's there's a lot to learn here. So let's make sure we're actually learning it and not just having those kind of silly populist reactions you see it happening in some place. It's
Yeah,
hopefully
it's
that'll.
easy to generalize, and so
Yeah.
let's just take it at value for right now.
Awesome, Catherine. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing some insights about what you guys are doing over at Binance US and sharing some of your ideas on the market and stuff overall. Again, for anyone who's interested, there is a link down below where you can sign up, get that $15 bonus, and there are no fees till the end or till the
And
start of November, end of October.
yeah, and once you sign up and trade $100 on it, you can invite more of your friends, and you'll also receive $15 for every 15 they receive. So
There you go, guys.
let's make friends in crypto.
Catherine, thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.